Hey guys, Hop Zombie here. What I'm going to do here is start my wood stove using the top-down method. Now, some people always thought, put on your wood, some kindling on top of all your newspaper and this and that. And what I find happens is it really just smothers the newspaper and it causes more smoke than what you really need to have. So what I do is what they call a top-down method, which means putting some larger pieces on the bottom, putting your kindling on top of that, and then just laying the newspaper on top of the kindling and actually letting it start from the top down. Let me set this up and I will show you exactly how that works out. Now, I sometimes do the little bow ties here. They kind of burn a little longer than just crumpled up and just release all their energy all at one time. So by tying them in a knot like that, they'll burn on the edges. But when they get to the knot kind of slows the burn down enough to where it gives the wood a little time to catch. Now, because this is a basement installation, I have a problem with draft sometimes. There's like 28 to 30 feet of exterior stainless steel chimney outside. And being in the basement, you experience what's, they call it stack effect, or you get a reverse draft. It's very hard to start a draft. The first couple times, it was pretty stressful. I mean, you go to light a fire, and the smoke just billows out the door, and you don't know what to do. And the worst thing you can do is grab the smoldering logs and try to bring them outside to reduce the amount of smoke you're getting in the house. You don't want to do that. What I do is I place my shop vac with the hose on the out. Now, by placing the hose on the air intake there, if the smoke starts to billow out, I can close the door and just kind of pulse the vacuum cleaner to just force some air into the firebox, which will start to to pressurize the stove a little bit, enough to where it's forcing air into the stove and it has no place to go but up through the chimney. And once that happens, the fire does the rest. The convection of the heat going up the chimney, it just starts the draft. And then I leave it on there for like maybe 5 minutes. Just in case the draft should reverse and start dumping smoke into the house, I can just pulse it one more time. I've never had to, but it's good to have, especially if the family doesn't like the smell of smoke in the house too much. All right, I turned the light on here just so you can kind of see, a couple slices of newspaper in there. That's it. We're going to light it now. And I can feel the heat. I have a little bit of a draft issue. I can close the door a little bit and then just kind of crack it open. And if you see the fire kind of liven up when you close it to open, you kind of know your draft has started already. So just the heat of the newspaper, and no smoke coming into the house, because the newspaper really doesn't smoke that much. It creates enough heat to send it up the chimney without smoking us out. So now you can see the kindling starting. Just adjusting the door here to get a good flame, and then that's pretty much it. I didn't even need to use the shop vac, but what I'll do is I'll close the door. Let's just say smoke is pouring into the room. What do? Well, you just pulse it. And what you're doing is you're forcing the air up the chimney. That's it. All right, well, let this get going a little bit, and I'll be right back. Oh, the exposure on the camera here doesn't really want to show you the fire too much, but let's see if I shut the door all the way and slow it down. That's a little bit better. You can see the fire burning from the top down. That's what's called the top-down method of starting a fire. Now, it would probably be safer if, the end of the vacuum cleaner hose that I stick in the back of the stove was made out of metal or, some sort of non-combustible material. Maybe it's not the perfect way of doing things. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos and actually friends and family who start their fireplaces with propane blow torches, and I've heard of the leaf blowers to get the draft started, and your wife's hair dryer and all these other things. I don't see it any more dangerous than anything else. You got to be smart about it. You can't leave it there for a half an hour, and it's too close to the fire. You just got to get your fire started, wrap it up, put it away, and you're done. I mean, that's it. And it's only there for really in an emergency situation where, smoke is pouring into the house. I just started it. It's only about 40 degrees outside right now. Had no problem. There'll be another day where the stack effect is bad. Maybe, on the third floor there's a window open. So what happens when there's a window open upstairs? All the warm air in the house is going straight up to that window and going out the window. Now, what happens when that happens? Cold air has to make up where the warm air is leaving. Your chimney's a prime inlet for that to happen. Cold air is coming right down that chimney into your stove and just pouring in this case, into the basement, where it is then, filling the basement up with cold air. Very hard to start a fire. Some people put, like I said before, some people put a sheet of newspaper up there. They light it. I like the shop vac. I bring it out. I use it down here anyway. I'm in the basement, and I plug it in. I pop it into the little outlet in the back of the stove, and if it starts smoke coming through the door and I don't have a good enough draft, I just flip the switch on for 1 to 2 seconds, if that, and problem solved. So that's kind of how I do it. Not necessarily the right way. The basement install is definitely not the way to go if you can help it. Wood burning stoves are space heaters. Fortunately, I am heating the basement. I am really not looking to heat the upstairs too much with it. It does a good job. It gets a little heat up there, but it's primarily meant to heat the basement. That's pretty much it. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email or whatever, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, now that that's done, the fire's going good. I can feel the heat from it. One of the questions I got was, why Hop Zombie? What does that mean? Why are we looking at a wood-burning stove and a fire with a guy that's name is Hop Zombie? Well, the channel was primarily created for homebrewers. And pretty much everything. I mean, I'm not going to limit what I do based on the name, but I am a home brewer. In fact, I'm drinking a lemon wheat. Ingredients came from, the guys over at Northern. Well, let me tilt the glass so you can see it. Northern Brewer, Jay, Chip, Michael Dawson. Those guys are great from Brewing TV. I learned a lot from them. Also learned from guys like Craig Tube. I mean, he's like huge on YouTube. I think he's one of the founders of YouTube, and he's just not telling anybody. But there's a lot of knowledge on YouTube. Some guys tell you what to do, not to do. Don't do this, don't do that. I'm not looking to do that. I'm looking to tell you how I do it, and you make up your own mind. All right, just on a funny note here, I'm doing the video, and the fire's going away, and this is just, my startup fires, burned down to coals, and then I can put on some good-sized pieces of wood. And I look up, my Condor, about almost 700 degrees. It's stovetop. I don't know if you can see that. I wish I turned the light on in here, but about 550, 600, and I still had the air wide open. Now, there's not a lot of fuel in there. I know it's going to burn down pretty quick. And to tell you the truth, the Condor's good. Still 800 to 1,000 degrees. I wouldn't run it there long term, but, clean out the pipe, get it good and hot for your first fire is always good. And these Englander stoves, they can definitely handle the heat. They can definitely put out some serious heat. So 550, 600, even 650 is nothing. 700 is not abnormal on the peak of a burn, especially a loaded burn that I'm looking to get several hours out of. It'll go all the way up to 650, 700 for maybe a half an hour, and then back down on its own as it's the fire's going through its normal natural burn cycle, and that's what the air could pretty much completely closed off. I like it up there. I know that when my fire's at 500 degrees, 550, I know I'm burning clean. I like to see, 400 degrees, 450 on my Condor, which is actually a probe thermometer. That thermometer there. Hold on. Let me. I know camera's shaking a bit, but put on a glove. Actually, let me put on a glove and I'll actually show you the probe. Alright, welcome back. So I got my glove here, and you can see probe is just about 700. This is a probe thermometer. Now, a lot of guys don't want to drill into their pipe. This is double wall DVL. And as you can see, I just pulled it out a little bit. Just drill the hole. You slide it in. Now you're getting actual flue temperatures. You're actually getting the temperature of the gases going up the chimney. I sweep my chimney once a year. I use good dry hardwood, and I get very little. I get way less than a coffee can. Alright, so as you can see, or maybe you can't, temperature's starting to come back down. I've closed the air off just a little bit, just to keep it under control. It's much easier to keep a fire under control than it is to get it under control. Alright, well, thank you for watching. This is Hop Zombie, and until next time, hey, enjoy a cold one that you made yourself.